A New York Magazine reporter's show on Bloomberg Television apparently had a very large, financially backed ad campaign that was going to come out to announce everybody about this show. Apparently, until she wrote an article that was critical of what was happening behind the scenes with President Biden and essentially his ouster and his mental capacity. And this is the article. The conspiracy of silence to protect Joe Biden. The president's mental decline was like a dark family secret for many elite supporters. Now, what the story is, after she writes this, there's this Twitterati campaign against her. And now we're getting this news. Bloomberg canceled promotion campaign for Olivia Nuzzi's new show over liberal complaints about her criticism of Biden. She says in a quote to, I believe it was Fox News Digital, that she is called a right-wing activist when she goes after Biden. She's called a left-wing activist when she goes after Trump. And she's a political correspondent. She had this new show coming out. It was going to be a little edgier. And then it all just gets blown aside simply because she said, hey, people were keeping it secret that there was something wrong with Joe Biden. Just like we all know, it's like not a big deal at all. But that's the story right now. Bill, when you heard about this, were you surprised?
There was two things that surprised me. Number one, the fact that you've got liberal left-wing entities like TYT and you've got right-wing conservative entities like Fox News that are in agreement that this is total BS, the way that Bloomberg has handled this. So that surprised me a lot. And it's like, wow. So I can only imagine what our good friends over at Breaking Points and the folks over at the Hill are going to say tomorrow, because they've already closed up shop and went home for the day. So the other part that surprised me is that Bloomberg, or I'm sorry, the New York Post didn't, or not New York Post,
Magazine.
I think the what?
New York Magazine, is there?
Yeah, New York Magazine didn't fire her. Okay, that really surprised me as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that it sounds like her show has happened already. What we're finding out after the fact is that we probably would have heard more about her show if it hadn't been for this article that she wrote for New York Magazine, because the show wasn't canceled, but the ad campaign for it was, which is very weird. You think if you were very upset about something, you found a person to be egregiously incapable of doing their job, then you would just scrap the entire show. Why would you just take down the ad campaign? And so, yeah, the whole thing is kind of weird, but what's weirdest to me is that it's even a big deal to question that there was drama behind the scenes with President Biden when it comes to, his mental health, his cognitive decline. We've talked about this on Tittle Tattle before. Supporter only show, by the way. Become a supporter and then you'll get the entire show. But we've talked about this before because at one point about a month or two ago, it was just like everybody switched. The media just jumped on board the get rid of Joe Biden campaign. And I found that to be very odd. I really was like, okay, I did a video about it. Why are we all of a sudden criticizing Joe Biden? Like it's okay. But apparently it's not okay. And I don't know where she crossed the line exactly. I'm not really quite sure where she crossed the line, because it seems like a lot of the media jumped on it. So I'm going to ask Bill that in a second. Like, what was it that was too far? Okay, what was it that was too far that she said? Because the media has been loving to hate Joe Biden ever since the idea for Kamala getting in has been a reality. If you're somebody who has been paying attention over the last couple of years about the WHO and health freedom and pandemics and what's to come, you may be somebody who's a little nervous about how your doctor is going to handle prescribing medications. I've had people on this show actually who've had to go to court to get medications for their loved ones who ended up even passing away because the time ran out. If you're somebody who is looking for an emergency kit and you are not wanting to wait until the last minute to see if your doctor will prescribe some of the medicines that are so censored on YouTube, you can get it in the emergency kit. There's several of them that are offered by the Wellness Company. And if you go to twc.health/Allison and use promo code Allison at checkout, you'll get $30 off plus free shipping. Again, it's twc.health/Allison. So it's the Wellness Company. Many people have already heard of them. If you haven't, they basically came out during the COVID era as a health freedom pharmacy type company. They sell these kits that you can get before you have issues. So you just keep them in your house. If you have any problems, then you already have it with you. Okay. So twc.health/Allison, Allison and promo code $30 off and free shipping. So Bill, if you're now trying to put yourself in the position of like, what exactly was it that got her fired? What do you think? I mean, was it, I guess, was it okay at that point to criticize Biden's cognitive ability, but not okay to question the cabal behind keeping him around? Like that was going too far, because that's really what she does in the article. It's not just calling out his cognitive decline. It's saying, hey, there were all these very intricate inner workings among his inner circle and the political power class to keep things going the way that they were. And all of that was very much hidden from us. And maybe that was too far for some people to be like, you're making it look like, you know, we're out to get the American people, or we're keeping information from them, or we're not really here for their best interest. You're making us look bad. And so they don't really care about Biden. It wasn't so much that they care that she was questioning Biden's capacity. They don't like that she's questioning their ability to do their jobs, or making them look evil, like they're trying to prevent Americans from knowing what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, well, let's be clear. To the best of my knowledge, she hasn't been fired from anything. Just the PR push has been canceled by Bloomberg. So she still has her job from what I can see. But if she would have been fired, it definitely would have been, how dare you expose this? But her story, I don't even really think it was that telling, because it goes back to one of my favorite movies of all time, A Few Good Men. Okay. In the court scene between Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise asked Jack Nicholson, well, if your orders are always followed, why was Private Santiago in any danger? He didn't have to be transferred. Okay. Same thing here. I think somebody on a CNN panel said this. If Joe Biden was fine this whole time, then why did he have to step down? Okay, that's basically what Olivia Nuzzi's article is. And she exposed how everybody was covering this up. And so they stopped the PR blitz for this show because she did her job. She did journalism. Oh my God, a journalist did journalism. Imagine that.
Okay, let's, I guess we should explain what her show was about, by the way. It was going to be called Working Capital, right. And she was going to interview prominent people in the political and business world, which is not something I would watch, but apparently you would if you consume Bloomberg, if that's your news source. But anyway, not really something that like is up my alley, but I kind of wonder if, because she's already like put herself in this world of, it's like the elite class, you know, the people who walk around, you don't want to look bad. They're in very powerful positions, and she was going to interview them. And then all of a sudden, you know, she goes after some of these powerful people, maybe not the ones she's interviewed, but they're going to the same cocktail parties and stuff. And I don't know, allegedly this is, you know, a Twitter campaign. And she said, hey, these outlets ignore the right-wing backlash. They don't, if they're say I wrote something and a bunch of conservatives came after me, it's unlikely Bloomberg or New York Magazine would care. But for some reason, when like DNC type operatives or neoliberal Twitterati come after us, and you know, and basically what they did was they retweeted stuff, I guess, from her past, like, right? You know, stuff that she had written about Obama years ago. That you know, I don't know, they were trying to make it look like you know, these were conspiracy theories, and you know, according to Fox News, claiming they were evidence of racism, and demanded Bloomberg fire her. So whatever it was, I haven't seen those old tweets, but it's from the 2010s. And she said that she kept them up. She knew there were lots of people out there that delete their old stuff. She's purposely left them up because she doesn't want to play that game of wiping history. She interviews people who, you know, are caught in this gray mess of being held accountable to stuff they've said a decade ago, and she doesn't want to play that game, and so she's not going to do it herself. So that was what she said. Let's see what the Young Turks started with. This is the first Young Turks video I've watched in a really long time. So anyway, here we go.
The idea that parties vote the same despite representing districts or states that are all across the country, that's just insane. And so if I could wave the magic wand, I'd get rid of the two parties.
we ended up having kind of a friendly conversation.
With a gun pointed at you?
Washington, D.C. has become a punchline to a never-ending joke.
How come that clock doesn't work?
No, it does. I think the term we use is it's wicked old.
That was the trailer for New York Magazine's Olivia Nuzzi's new Bloomberg show. It's about, it's basically about to get crushed because of the PR that was supposed to be carried out to promote it. Now that PR has been erased thanks to a small group of loud liberals who are upset at her for reporting the truth about how the Democratic Party was covering up Biden's mental decline. So back in July, Nuzzi was announced to lead a 6-episode interview series titled Working Capital on Bloomberg's TV network. And according to Variety, it focuses on candid exchanges with political and business leaders. And there was supposed to be a big PR push for this series, okay? Lots of press around it, a lot of commercials around it, but it was scrapped after Nuzzi wrote an article, an op-ed, if you will, criticizing President Joe Biden and the Democratic Party's attempts to cover up his mental decline. It was titled The Conspiracy of Silence to Protect Joe Biden. The president's mental decline was like a dark family secret for many elite supporters.
Okay, and Bill, I truly believe this is where she's getting punished because she's showing people that there are concerted efforts to make the American political system what it is without the consent of the voting public. I really believe that I took this for granted for many years, and it wasn't until hosting this show, honestly, and interviewing the people that I did, I went from it being, it just all kind of happens, to there are string puller puppeteers, and they don't like to be exposed. And honestly, a lot of times, I don't think even the real people who are making the actual decisions are exposed. I think it goes way darker and deeper than what we even see. But that said, I think this is the no-no is not the so much that Biden was having issues, because everybody was jumping on the Biden is having issues train at this point. The place that she really ran into, I think, danger zone with her reporting was showing the intentional effort to keep it a secret and to play the political games that Americans are really starting to question now. And just people did not like that they made it, like we were purposely trying to coordinate a reality for the United States of America that was unbeknownst to the voting public, and try to keep it totally secret and keep things the way that we want them to be without the electorate being informed about it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's, it still baffles me that all these different media outlets from both sides are agreeing that this was really wrong how Bloomberg handled it. And I agree. It's not the fact that she put an op-ed or an article or a commentary piece about this. It's how it's really teed off some of the more elite supporters. We're talking top tier. When Chris Cuomo did his thing about, hey, here at the Democratic National Convention, these boxes are 500,000, start at 500,000 a pop. Okay. Yeah. So, so this article by Nuzzi is very much talking about the upper deck people. And I think that's what, some of those upper deck people, they read Bloomberg, they influence Bloomberg, and I would probably say they push Bloomberg one way or another. So you combine that with the trolls on X, Twitter, whatever, that made this massive push and took a lot of her former tweets out of context. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm very, very surprised New York Magazine did not fire her. But the fact that Bloomberg went to this step to pull all this massive PR campaign about this show, it's trifling, as we say in the streets.
Okay, let's watch this one last part here.
Actually meant it. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Okay, she went all the way back. They went all the way back to the Obama years. They gave this example: Kenyan anti-colonial shows teeth to small child. Okay, so it's a picture of Obama. His mouth is open, and so she's making fun of people who referred to Obama not as an American citizen.
So she's making fun of the idea that Obama not in America. That people were saying the birthright.
Right. She's making fun of the whole.
And she was mad at me, and people are coming after her for that. God.
Yeah, they're bringing that
not
up,
as an
calling her
American
a
who's born in
racist.
America, but as
calling her a racist. Yeah,
the Kenyan.
Yeah.
You guys really think that Olivia Nuzzi believes that Obama is Kenyan and not an American?
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, so look, the people who do those smears are some of the worst people in America. And I know that it's been done to me. And so they will take jokes that I said and then pretend they weren't jokes.
Okay, and I will leave it here for a second about the Young Turks, because I think Bill wants to talk about how this collusion, well, collusion is probably not the right word. This confluence is what I'm trying to say. This confluence here where you're seeing like Fox News and the Young Turks reporting similarly on a particular issue. And I think the Young Turks have gotten, I'm not saying, be a fan or don't be a fan of the Young Turks, but I think that over the last few years, they've gotten burned a little bit by their own audience.
Yes.
And so, and there are people, rightly so, who don't like the Young Turks. Okay. But there are other people that are, I think, for the wrong reasons now don't like them because, they've fallen prey to their own tactics in a lot of ways. And I think, they now are kind of questioning, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but they are questioning people that maybe they wouldn't have 5-10 years ago because of campaigns against them, and especially Anna Kasparian, and like coming after her. So I want to hear what Bill has to say about that. Don't forget also, if you're a wine drinker and you're into like clean wines with a great story, traditionally fermented, traditionally harvested, the ways that people have been handing down winemaking for generations, then this is the wine club for you. If you go to AllisonWinePromo.com, you'll get 6 bottles of amazing wine every 3 months. You'll always have a great bottle of wine to give as a gift to take to a party. These are wines that come with a great story, besides the story of supporting my show, because it's a very pro free speech company. But they go all over the world to find the best wines, the cleanest wines, the wines that are made from grapes that work extremely hard for your palate, between 6,000 and 9,000 feet in a lot of cases, so extreme altitude. There are far fewer pesticides in these regions. And like I said, the winemaking practices are old world. They go back in some cases hundreds of years, which maybe, since wine is thousands of years old, is not that old world, but in today's commercial market, it is old world. So anyway, go to AllisonWinePromo.com, have a bottle of wine ready for whoever you unfriended over whatever show was canceled, over whatever racist tweet they said 25 years ago, and you guys will make up right away. And not because a person will be drunk, because they will genuinely like the wine. You can also send me mail. Love getting some mail. I get some generous donations for the show. I get some seeds that grow well in Florida. I've gotten drawings. Somebody just sent stickers. And actually, I don't have the book on. Well, do I? Yes. Somebody sent me a sign language book for kids, which I thought was very cool. A stuffed animal.
That's very cool.
So yeah, nice notes of encouragement. So P.O. Box 3355, Denellen, Florida 34432. Would love to see something from you in my inbox. Nothing creepy, nothing edible. And we'll see everybody next time. If you are not a supporter, consider signing up on Locals, Rockfin, or Patreon. And we will see you next time.